Hey guys, this is Ibby. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. I am going to be showing you guys my August bullet journal setup in my half letter Discbound planner. I'm just going to start off by showing you guys these mild liners that I bought from Ross, I think, actually. I'm mostly going to use the brush in the 0.2 for my lettering and for my outlines. I also recently got these dual brush tip acrylic markers. I'm hoping that they're not going to bleed through my paper this time around, even though I am using some printouts this month, but I just bought them so that I could test them out. Those are the two main markers that I'm going to be using. Obviously, I'm going to be using that brighter yellow and then the green for the lemons, and then the other yellow is kind of just to fill in the background and give it some depth. Alright, I'm going to speed you guys up now so that we can get through the hours and hours it took me to set this up in hopefully around 30 or 40 minutes. We'll see what it looks like when editing is done. So I have this cutout of this glass of lemonade that I found on the interwebs, and I was going to put that on first, and then I realized that it would be easier for me to do my lettering for my August and then do my placement based on that instead of doing it the other way around. This cover page overall is really simple. I just have that lettering for the August title and then the coloring in of this lemonade cutout that I did. And then you'll see me add these little yellow like splash marks and dripping effect on the top of the page to add some depth so that the page just isn't too plain. And other than that, it's pretty simple. So let me just give you guys a rundown. I really wanted to do lemon themes for this month's bullet journal setup because it's the end of summer, but it's not really, and I still kind of want to capture that bright feeling of the summer before the fall comes in a couple weeks. And so I did give my hand at drawing some lemons. It did not turn out as well as I thought it would have. And so that's when I took to browsing the internet, and I found a lot of good lemon imagery off Pinterest and different websites that I figured I could incorporate into my usual setups and kind of add a bit of fit and flair. So it is going to be a lot of coloring this month, okay? That's why it's going to be a little bit longer. This video is in the setup just in general. There was a lot of cutting out of the material. There was a lot of coloring. There was a lot of gluing. I did have fun, but if I was to do this again, I probably wouldn't use as many things. Anyway, I am freehanding most of these lines on my setup this month. I'm not really using my ruler. I don't think I use it at all actually, but it really adds to the vibes. I am using these dot stickers with the dates on them to date my calendar for this month. It came in a monthly package with a couple other stickers which are lemon themed, so I will be using those stickers quite a bit inside of this setup. This calendar on the right is for September. It is just so that I have a reference for anything that comes up for September during this month, and I have a place to write it. So these sheets you see me using are going to mostly just be for decor to fill up the bottom of this calendar spread. This calendar spread is actually supposed to be a Dutch door with the next page that I have, except I forgot, so I just glued it right onto that right side of the page, and in a bit you're gonna see me cut it right off and then glue it to the page that it's supposed to be, because I did not make duplicates of what I needed. But I haven't realized that yet, so you're just gonna see me coloring and having a good time until then. For the half lemon or the lemon slices, I didn't color the inside of the lemon because I wasn't sure that I wanted to, but then I decided I want to later in the video, and so I'll come back in with that paler yellow and fill in the color. You won't really be able to tell, I feel like, on the video, but it makes a difference in person. And here I am patch fixing my Dutch door to the way it was supposed to be originally. I'm going to use my headings to bring out some more of that green color, and then I'll go back and do them in brush tip and black underneath to give the titles some depth also and some layering. But I'm bringing my Dutch door back so that I can see what the full effect is depending on where I place those stickers. These lemon stickers are the ones that came with the circle dot numbers, and I think they're freaking cute. I forgot I did this. I had to go back and color in the lemonade with that pale color because the white was not doing it for me. I do think that I bounce around my pages a bit in this setup, but you guys will just have to follow along with me, okay? That's how planning goes sometimes. So we are moving on to my next spread. It's going to have my goals and tasks for the month on the left, and then my thoughts / brain dump section on the right. I had to pull out my spacing guide that I made because I wanted to make sure that my goals and tasks had equal space. I also ended up spelling thoughts wrong, minus the second T on this page, and I did briefly contemplating just redoing the entire page, but I had already penciled everything that I needed on the back of this page, and I didn't have the extra cutout paper with the lemons and the lemon slices on the bottom to redo my Dutch door, so I just redid the title and pasted it in. We are now moving on to my media tracker for this month. I thought I wanted to use that first printable, but it wasn't giving the vibes I wanted to, so I used another one of the ones that I had out, and I liked how bold this was because I knew that this page was just going to mostly have black writing, and I wanted to do a little something special. So this is the printable that I'm going to use. I'm just trying to fit it into where I know my boxes are going to be. So I've made my boxes to go around those printables yellows and I'm just going to color them in. I counted my boxes based on the title or the header line that I normally do, that has the title and the format, the star rating, and then which week I am consuming the media in. It is a tried and true format for me. I love it. That probably will not change anytime soon in the future. So yeah, enjoy my coloring. I'm going in now with that pale yellow marker that I said that I ended up using for my cover page, and just to add some depth to the page. As you can see, it is not really noticeable on the camera, but I promise it looks really good in person. You can see it a little better here where I use it to emphasize that header for my media categories, for the week numbers, and then for the star rating, for the format, and for the title. LOL at myself and the fact that I worked so hard to make sure I counted out the letters for media tracker so that I put it in the center, and then I immediately put the tracker off center. But we roll. This page is for my gratitudes. The box is for where I'm going to put the one line a day, and I'm using this yellow line to divide the initial for the day of the week and for the date of the week from where I'm actually going to write my line a day. And then the top is just going to be the header that says gratitude, which I also somehow mess up because most of the letters are 5 boxes high, and then G and R are only 4 boxes high. But don't look too hard at it, and I won't look too hard at it either. The page was really giving a lot of yellow, so I came in to add in those green splash marks, and then I'll go back in later in the video to add some more green splashes down that yellow divider that I put where I'm gonna write my one line a day. This page is going to be for my habits. I really kind of pared them down this month, and although I didn't draw many calendars, I still draw many boxes that needed me to write 1 through 31 on them multiple times. Because of how I'm outlining my habits this month with the boxes, I am putting a mini calendar for this month in the top right corner so that I can match up the days in the habit tracker boxes with the days of the week in case I get confused, which is likely to happen. These boxes are 3 boxes high. The first line is mostly going to be for the title of the habit, and then how many days out of the month that I want to do them. And then there's going to be a little box in the top right for the 31st days because the width of the boxes are 15 days. boxes and numbering all the days inside of my habit tracker. I am working on my little decor section column that's going under the mini calendar for the month. I have it kind of as a falling lemons theme. I showed you a hint of what it looked like before I cut it out, and I am literally only leaving this section of me cutting things out so that you can know how long it took me to set up this month's calendar, or just have an idea. I'm gonna cut out the rest of it, but my fingers were sore and well acquainted with these scissors for this month's setup. After cutting everything out, it did take me some time to decide how I wanted to place everything so that it didn't look too crowded, but it didn't look too empty either, and that there were different visuals just still happening for this concept. And then we wrap up with gluing and coloring. It wasn't until I was recording that I realized that my glue stick that I had dried up. So I'm just trying to use my glue tape, but the elements are kind of small, so it is a little difficult. You will see me throughout this video accidentally ripping some of my printouts, but I stick them right back on the paper because I already glued them, and I'm okay with approximation. I really love the way that this lemon drop kind of situation turned out. The greens and the yellows, the full lemons, the half lemons, the slices, it ate. It's day 2, and here's a quick flip through of what we've done so far before we start on the first of the weeklies. So this week is actually going to have 9 days plus a to-do box because I'm joining in that first and second, that Saturday and Sunday, into this week so that I don't have to make an awkward 2-day spread. After I made my boxes, I am trying to work on the placement for some of the other elements that I have to fill in this kind of horizontal but also column spaces that I left for the decoration. There was some word cutting and a lot of decision questioning because I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do with this. I knew the cup of lemonade was going to be there and I knew the tree was going to be there, but everything in between, we figured it out as we go. Most of the decision making though was trying to make sure I balanced out the amount of green and yellow that was going to be on this spread, because the cup of lemonade was mostly going to be yellow, but this tree was going to be a mix of the yellows and the greens for the lemons and the leaves already on it. And so I didn't want what was going on the horizontal bar in the middle to overpower the colors one way or the other. Because I felt that there was a lot of green coming in from the trees on the printable, I used the yellow to make that line for where I'm gonna put my headers for the day of the week in the brush lettering. And then I used the paler yellow to indicate those first 2 days of the week that are technically not part of this week. And I also used it for the to-do box so that I could bring that paler yellow onto the bottom line. I did mess up and start with Monday on the 1st, even though it's definitely supposed to be Saturday. That's nothing a little extra dot grid paper and some glue can't fix though. Moving on to the next weekly, I am just drawing a box of 4 on each page. Each box is going to be for the day of the week, and then one of the boxes is going to be for my to-do list. And then surrounding all of these boxes are going to be my lemon cutouts. They're little half lemons, and I think that they're so cute. As you can see, I was a little indecisive about whether my to-do box, the line that I was going to use to anchor the heading at the top, what color was going to be, but I made sure I did the pale yellow first so that if I didn't like it, whatever color I put on top would be able to cover it up well, which the green did. Again, trying to figure out the placement before I start gluing things down, because I might like a little spontaneity, but I also want it to make sense when I look at it. I did briefly consider putting some of the half slices along the spine of the Discbound rings, but it looked too busy in the middle, and having it blank in the center allowed it to be a cohesive spread that goes together instead of something that looked more like 2 separate spreads. Now I'm just trimming and cleaning up the edges before I get to coloring. I wasn't sure how I wanted to color these half slices initially, so 2 of the ones that I had already cut out, I just colored differently and then kind of placed them on the page to see which one I preferred, and I preferred the deep yellow outline with the kind of pale yellow on the inside, which is what eventually led me to go back to my calendar spread and color those half lemons in also. We are now moving on to week number 3. It is another spread with 4 boxes on each page to give me a total of 8. Of course, one is for my to-do list for the week. I am going ahead and outlining those boxes. The idea is to have another half lemon slice kind of surrounding the top of the box, like a lemon wedge, I guess. I got really into the zone during this time, and I did not realize that my phone died. So you guys are just gonna miss that entire spread setup until I come back and just show it to you during the flip through. This is week 4's setup now. Once again, doing the 4 boxes on each page for a total of 8. One of those boxes is not going to be for my to-do list this time. It is going to be for that lonely Monday of the 31st. And then this blank space on the left side outside of the boxes is where I'm going to do my to-do list for this week. I am using the same cutouts that I used for the habit tracker for the dropping lemon phase to fill in the top columns or the letterheads of this page. And then I am using this beautiful lemon printout. I don't remember exactly which side I got it off of, with the leaves on the side to fill in this right column next to the boxes to balance out the to-do list on the left side. I once again played print out Tetris before gluing down the items, and then I found another piece that I realized I really liked when I was shuffling some papers around, so I did move one of the cutouts in the top left over so that I can add in this little half lemon slice. And I'm glad that the glue tape is sticky but isn't that sticky for me to be able to lift up some of these pieces before they really got stuck to the page. Now I'm gonna finish coloring. So I felt like the yellow and the green were pretty balanced on this spread, and so I was using this pale yellow to use as the headers for the days of the week, but then I wasn't sure. So I used this cutout that I used on week 3, which footage is lost, to have the green and then the brighter yellow to sample them inside of these boxes because they're all the same size. And that's how I decided on the green for the majority of the week, and then that pale yellow for the to-do list and that Loon Monday. The to-do list section was looking a little pale and blank, so I put these pink flowers in from the sticker set I used on the calendar page that had the flying lemons in it. And it's now time for my last spread of the month, which is my review spread. We're going to have 6 categories to be reviewed this month. The first are my highs of the month, the second are my lows of the month, the third is going to be my buffaloes for the month, which are anything weird or kind of quirky that happened. The fourth box is going to house my favorites for the month. The fifth box are going to be things that I learned this month, and then the last box are going to be for my reflection. I am now trying to figure out where to put these last 3 lemon stickers, and so I'm using that yellow and green little cutout to see what headers I'm going to use for these sections, and decide to kind of do an alternating theme at the end of the day. And then I'm going to put the stickers in places that are kind of spread out. The additional categories in my favorites box are for my favorite anime of the month, my favorite TV series of the month, my favorite movie of the month, and then my favorite song of the month. Now I am going to be doing my flip through and kind of adding any finishing touches, starting with making sure I cut out the Discbound little mushroom section so that I can actually use these pages in my planner. As I'm looking at the cover page, I realized that it's a lot of yellow and not a lot of green, so I'm just going to cut out some of those green stems from this printable and add them on. The goals and tasks section seemed like they were floating in the wind, so I'm just drawing these boxes to anchor them. And then of course the thought section looked lonely, so I added a box there too. Somehow the media tracker didn't look decorated enough, and so I am testing out some different raindrop theories to add along the spine where the Discbound mushroom section is, so that I can fill in that space and have more of a cross decoration rather than something that just goes directly through the middle. This bottom right corner on this weekly looked really lonely, but I did not want to add any more yellows or greens, so I just brought in another purple flower to spread the color out. Here is that third weekly that I lost the footage for. I'm realizing that there is again a lot of yellow on this page, so I'm cutting out some more of the green stems to use and spread between the days of the week. And then I'm also going to go and color in some green splash icons to add more color to the page. Now it is time for a last flip through with the few last minute touch-ups that I mentioned earlier in the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell so that you get alerted anytime I upload a video. And drop a lemon in the comments if you made it all the way to the end. See you guys next time. Ciao.